This video is brought to you by...
You already know what it is. Cool green clothing. We done gone worldwide, and we coming straight out of Baltimore. And if you're in town, pull up on us at 215 West Saratoga Street. And if you're not in town, go online right now at coolgreenclothing.com and make your purchase. Oh yeah, and by the way, if you ain't cool and getting the green, you're in the way. And that's just basic.
It's your girl, Mrs. Tony, 2 times, and I'm back with another episode of the Baltimore Way. In this video, I'll be discussing the story of a Baltimore father who lost his life after an argument with his longtime girlfriend and mother of his children. But before we get into this video, please hit that like button. Also, make sure you subscribe if you haven't already and join the Tony 2 Times family. Tap the notification bell so you don't miss out on any future uploads. And of course, feel free to share this video with everyone you know. Everything in this video is alleged. All right, let's go ahead and get into it. To those who knew him best, 46-year-old Dante Chase was simply known as Man. If you ran into him around Baltimore, chances are he was smiling, cracking a joke, or bringing a burst of positive energy to the room. He was described by family and acquaintances as a truly motivational, inspiring, and funny soul who took immense pride in how he presented himself and how he cared for his loved ones. But above everything else, Dante was a deeply devoted father. He had an older son as well as 2 younger children, and he poured his heart into supporting them. On any given weekend, you could find him at his son's youth football games completely locked in. He wasn't just a spectator. He was the dad cheering on the entire team, coaching from the sidelines, and showing up as a strong, attentive example for all the players. To the community, his family looked well kept, happy, and anchored by a father who loved them fiercely. But in the midst of Dante's life was 37-year-old Cherise Erica Parker. Dante and Cherise got together back in 2010, marking the beginning of a long-term relationship that would span over a decade. Together, they built a life and brought 2 beautiful children into the world, a son and a daughter. According to acquaintances from the outside, they were raising a family, but behind closed doors and even occasionally in the public, their connection was incredibly tumultuous. The couple's relationship existed in 2 completely different realities depending on who you asked. On one hand, people in their social circle saw a very specific dynamic. Some acquaintances noted that at public events, like their kids' football games, Cherise could allegedly be highly confrontational and argumentative toward Dante, even in front of their little ones. Witnesses recalled Dante frequently walking away from the tension to keep the peace, because according to someone on social media who was around the couple during football games or practices, Cherise allegedly appeared bold and vocal outside. Some onlookers said they never suspected anything darker was happening, noting they hadn't seen any physical marks or bruises. However, social media and court discussions later revealed a completely different story of what allegedly was happening behind closed doors. While some personal acquaintances strictly maintained that Dante would never lay a hand on her, others stepped forward to counter that narrative, stating plainly that the relationship was deeply toxic on both sides. According to those accounts, behind closed doors, severe physical altercations were a constant reality in their home, sometimes unfolding right in front of their children. Allegedly, it was a volatile environment, a private storm brewing beneath a public surface. Everything reached a devastating breaking point on the night of June 30th, 2025. Inside their home in the 700 block of North Kenwood Avenue in Southeast Baltimore, an altercation ignited between Dante and Sharice. It was just past 11 p.m. when the argument escalated far past words. In the heat of an alleged physical confrontation, a sharp object was introduced into the struggle. Sharice allegedly used a knife, striking Dante in the left chest. Gravely injured, Dante managed to run out of the house to seek help before collapsing onto the sidewalk outside. Meanwhile, inside the residence, panic and chaos took over. Phone calls were made, including one where Sharice frantically contacted a family member to state what had just happened. But rather than waiting for the flashing lights of first responders, Sharice fled the scene, leaving her 11-year-old and 7-year-old behind in the house. Before authorities could even arrive, family members who had been alerted rushed over to safely remove the kids from the home. At 11:09 p.m., Baltimore police received emergency calls and dispatched officers to the Kenwood Avenue address. When they arrived, they found Dante on the ground outside, suffering from a severe wound to his body, along with irregular abrasions on his arms that looked like defensive wounds. Medics rushed him to a nearby hospital, but tragically, he succumbed to his injuries shortly after arrival. The investigation moved rapidly. When detectives secured a search warrant for the home, the physical evidence painted a grim picture. They discovered significant amounts of red stains tracking through the entire first floor and located a knife covered in stains lying on the floor between the living room and the dining room. For a few days, Sharice was nowhere to be found. But on July 3rd, she walked into the Baltimore Police Department headquarters and turned herself into detectives. She was processed, booked at the Central Booking and Intake Facility, and officially hit with the highest level of life-ending charges. The community's reaction was a mix of profound grief and utter heartbreak. The loss shook those who knew Dante as a vibrant football dad, and a cloud of sadness hung over the fact that these two young children had essentially lost both of their parents in a single evening. When the case moved through the courts, the defense began setting up a strategy rooted entirely in self-defense. During a scheduling hearing in November 2025, a trial date was set for May of the following year. But as March 2026 approached, the timeline shifted. Prosecutors offered Sharice a plea deal, a life sentence with all but 30 years suspended. Sharice rejected it, choosing instead to take her chances with a jury, where she faced a maximum penalty of spending the rest of her life behind bars. The trial was brief but intense. The defense attempted to introduce a short video from years prior showing Dante making menacing statements to Sharice, telling her he would put her in a box, as well as a letter detailing her mental health treatment for post-traumatic stress disorder. The judge ultimately deemed those specific items inadmissible due to the timing, but ruled that Sharice could directly testify about her state of mind. And testify she did. Taking the stand, Sharice and her defense attorney described a horrifying history of severe physical altercations. Sharice, who stands at less than 5 feet tall, testified that Dante towered over her and that physical trauma was a permanent fixture in their 15-year relationship, claiming he had choked her to unconsciousness multiple times in the past, including on the very night of the incident. When asked why she didn't leave the relationship, she explained that she felt stuck. She felt completely trapped and unable to leave. The prosecution, however, hammered away at her credibility. They pointed out major inconsistencies. Sharice initially told the police that the incident happened in an upstairs bedroom, but testified in court that it happened in the kitchen, while the evidence suggests a completely different area of the first floor. They also pointed out that she claimed she broke a television during the fight, yet crime scene photos showed it perfectly mounted on the wall. The state argued these lies proved she wasn't telling the truth. The defense countered that the human brain under severe trauma and terror struggles to retain perfect linear details, and that her change in memory was a direct symptom of that fear. On March 4th, 2026, the jury went back to deliberate. 2 days later, on March 6th, they reached their conclusion. The jury ultimately sided with the narrative of self-defense. Sharice was completely acquitted of the most serious life-ending charge, though she was found guilty of a lesser charge regarding the use of a weapon. Fam, this is a really heartbreaking story. My heart goes out to everyone involved. Our deepest thoughts and condolences go out to Dante Chase's family, his friends, and especially his children, who have to carry the weight of this tragedy moving forward. Regardless of where people stand on the verdict, the consequences have been life-changing for everyone connected to this situation. Some people felt justice had been served. Others believe important questions remained unanswered, and many focus on the long-lasting impact left behind. At the center of this case are children who lost both parents as they once knew them. One parent is gone, and the other became involved in a lengthy criminal case. Cases like this often remind us how dangerous toxic relationships can become when conflict continues to escalate over time. When arguments repeatedly turn into hostility, resentment, fear, or physical confrontations, the consequences can affect entire families and generations. This story also highlights how difficult it can be for outsiders to fully understand what is happening inside a relationship. Some people who knew the couple believed Dante was a loving father and positive influence. Others believe Sharice endured years of physical trauma behind closed doors, and maybe both things can be true at once. But the fact is, we will never know the whole truth, because in those moments when it was just Sharice and Dante, only they can speak on it. And Dante isn't here to talk about his experiences. And what Sharice says she went through in that relationship is the only version we know. And her voice matters. Hopefully she gets the help she needs to recover from this tragedy. The jury heard both perspectives and reached its decision based on the evidence presented in court. But the conversation surrounding this case will likely continue for years. So now, fam, I want to hear from you. Do you believe the jury reached the correct verdict? Do you think Sharice acted in self-defense? And do you think there were warning signs that this situation was heading toward tragedy long before that night on North Kenwood Avenue? Let's keep it respectful and let me know your thoughts in the comments below. All right, fam, that's it for this episode of The Baltimore Way. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this video informative and believe these stories matter, please consider liking this video so more people can see it. Subscribe for more stories like this that deserve to be heard. And most importantly, take care of yourself and those around you. This is your girl, Mrs. Tony 2 times. Until next time.